All right, so what I've done to prepare this paper, this is 100% cotton watercolor, by the way, because good watercolors deserve good paper. I have applied a strip of matte black ink and allowed that to dry so we could get a look at the transparency of each of the pigments, and I put a dot of the paint above each of these just to save time. So I'm going to start off with the color Cascade Green. Now, one of my sort of critiques on this paint set right off the bat would be that many of these colors are convenience mixtures. We only have a few, very few, pure pigment colors in this set, and some of the colors in this set are actually fugitive. Now this shade looks to be semi-opaque to me. It's quite a bit covering up the line. I'm going to get a larger brush as we go, by the way. And this is another one of those convenience mixtures. This is PBR7, which I believe in this instance they're using raw sienna, and PB15, which is a phthalo blue. It's a very nice dark color. I know it's going to have some lovely granulation as it dries. Hold on one second. All right, so I just went to grab a larger brush so we could do bigger swatches quicker. Now, what I wanted to mention again is that we only have two pure pigment colors in here, the quinacridone magenta and the nickel azo yellow. That's it out of the whole 10 color set. The next color that I have is Green Apatite Genuine. Now, this is a Primatek color, and my issue with Primatek colors is that you don't really know what's in here, to be honest. That's why I put question mark down there for the pigment information, because, you know, they say Green Apatite Genuine, but let's be honest, it's probably like 10% or less of that Green Apatite Genuine, and then Lord only knows what the other pigments are. My issue with that is, as a professional artist, it makes it very difficult to determine light fastness when you're not declaring exactly what's in that tube. And also, how do I know that there's not something in here that I would rather not be exposed to, like cobalt or cadmium? Probably not cadmium, let's be honest. But I think that Sleeping Beauty turquoise genuine color from Daniel Smith did have cobalt turquoise. So it's kind of like at your own risk, that Primatek line. So yeah, they lost my trust a little bit after that, I'm not gonna lie. But I have some artsy type friends who have done the light fast testing on Green Apatite Genuine, and I'm gonna do my own test and I will let you know. But supposedly that one came out decently light fast, so we'll see. This is Quinacridone Magenta. This is one of the only pure pigments in this set. This is PR202, which usually brands use PR122 for their Quinacridone Magenta, so they're a little bit different. And it's not quite as vibrant of a Quin Magenta as, like, for example, Winsor Newton's. It's a little bit less saturated, but it's still a beautiful color. That Green Apatite Genuine is really a beautiful color, a lot of granulation happening there, and I'm hoping that my light fast tests prove that it is quite good. If you have any information on that color, let me know, please, because I'd love to know. All right, now here's Opera Pink. Now this color I'm surprised to see in a set that's called a Master Artists set, because this color is very fugitive. The tube information says it's PR122, which is correct, that Quinacridone Magenta is in there, but it also contains a fluorescent dye. And I've seen some misinformation, even on blog posts and things like that on the internet, where artists will read the tube and they'll say, well, it says pigment PR122, so that's Quinacridone Magenta, that's completely light fast. And they don't understand that the art industry, in terms of its labeling, is grossly unregulated. And I mean, honestly, there's no legal definitions for what's artist grade and what isn't. Like, nothing but integrity stops Crayola from putting premium artist grade on their labeling. I mean, genuinely, there's really no laws in place. And as Daniel Smith has pointed out, they don't have to really tell you what's in here. And they don't. So in terms of their Primatek colors, and this is another one, it says PR122 is the pigment. Well, that is the pigment, and that color won't fade, but the fluorescent dye will. So I don't blame the people who don't understand. They're taking, you know, the labeling seriously, and that's not their fault. I don't blame those people that don't know. I blame art companies for not being more transparent about what is in their paints. But that color absolutely will fade, and I'm not going to be putting it on my palette. Unfortunately, I'm going to swap that out with Daniel Smith's Quinacridone Pink. It's not going to be as vibrant as that, but then again, nothing in nature is really that color. So it doesn't really bother me. I'm not a huge fan of that color anyway, but if you are, I just want you to know, because you deserve to have that information, that that color is going to fade. If you do reproductive work, like work that's going to be scanned into a computer and reproduced, then it doesn't matter. Or if you do sketchbook work, it doesn't matter. But if you're selling the originals, you have the right to know that color is going to fade in any brand. It's not a Daniel Smith problem. It's any brand's problem. This shade is Imperial Purple. This is a mix of PV19, which is Quinacridone Rose, and their PB29, which is Ultramarine Blue. This is a convenience mixture color, and really I would never purchase this for myself, but it's in this set because you can mix it. So if you have Ultramarine Blue and you have Permanent Rose, then you can mix such a wide range of purples and so many other colors that it doesn't make sense really to purchase that. But if you use a lot of that color, it does. And it's going to have a lovely granulation. So far, these three are very transparent. These two, I'd say, are more in mass tone, semi-transparent to semi-opaque on that Cascade Green. All right. This next color is Nickel Azo Yellow PY150. It is the other single pigment color in this set. Now, I like single pigments or pure pigment colors myself, but there's nothing wrong with convenience mixtures. I think it's better, and it's going to make you a stronger artist to get pure pigments and learn how to mix on your own, and it will save you money as well. But there's nothing wrong with convenience mixtures. If you like some of these convenience mixtures, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So that is a beautiful glowing warm yellow. As a for a master artist set, as somebody who is a professional artist, I will say that I think this set so far leans more toward that artist that kind of already has everything, or at least already has their primaries, because, you know, there's no like cool yellow in this set. There's no warm red. There's no real blue. That Lunar blue is not really a pure blue. So you're not really, this is not like a kind of like a split primary mixing type set. Now that's not bad. There's nothing wrong with that. But I like the fact that it's different because I already have all those original primaries and basic colors. So I was looking for something kind of fun to try out. But I just want you to know, if you're looking for a good beginner set, I would steer you more toward the Essential set by Daniel Smith. That's a wonderful set. This is the Aussie Red Gold. It's a mixture of PY83, PR101, and PV19. So that it would be, I believe, Darylide Yellow, Red Iron Oxide, and what is that? Quinacridone Rose would be PV19. And that is semi-transparent as well. That yellow is probably what's making it just a little bit messy on the line there. Now the next shade that I have to show you is Moon Glow, and I have this swatched out here as well. I'm going to show you in just one second the dry swatch. Moon Glow is beautiful. It's a mixture of Viridian PG18, Ultramarine Blue PB29. I think they're using their French Ultramarine Blue for this because it's very heavily granulating. And here's where things get a little tricky. It also has that PR177. Now, PR177 by the ASTM has been rated as excellent, but the problem is that it was tested in a different medium. Not every pigment will do the same light fastness wise in every medium, because more durable binders like acrylic and oil kind of coat and protect that paint, protect that pigment from light a little bit better. But PR177 in watercolors is fugitive in tints. So be careful with the tint, like the lighter tints, the more watered down dilutions of PR177, because it will fade. And unfortunately, Moon Glow is one of those colors that will be somewhat fugitive as well. Let me go ahead and focus on that dry swatch. Isn't that beautiful? It is very interesting and unique and gorgeous. I do understand why people love this color, but let me just go ahead and say that there's some very great blog posts and videos here on YouTube on how to mix your own version of this color. And I think my favorite mix for trying to do a hue would be the Viridian Ultramarine Blue and Quinacridone Coral by Daniel Smith. I wish they would change the red because it is such a beautiful color. All right, moving on to the Undersea Green. This is another convenience mixture, PB29 Ultramarine Blue, P048, and PY150. So this is basically Quinacridone Gold Hue, as you know it, by Daniel Smith, with the Ultramarine Blue. But I tell you something, this really is beautiful. Now you can mix this color on your own, but I would say, for whatever reason, and don't hate on me, but I really think that the convenience mixture version of this is more vibrant than what I can mix on my own. And it is really lovely and beautiful. They do a wonderful job with this Undersea Green, and it really is beautiful. Let me go ahead and start softening that Lunar Blue a little bit. The Imperial Purple, which is a mixture of rose and ultramarine blue, I can mix that very easily on my own. So for me, I don't know, that and their Rose of Ultramarine, which is the exact same two pigments, I would not recommend you buy those two colors, because Rose of Ultramarine and Imperial Purple, because if you just buy their French Ultramarine and Quinacridone Rose, you can mix both and so much more. So I would recommend the pure pigments instead to you. Now this is the Lunar Blue, and it's PB15 and PBK11. This is another one that I wouldn't purchase again. If I like this and I use it a lot, I'll just mix it myself. I do have their Lunar Black, which is really just Mars Black, and I usually don't buy black paint, I'm going to be honest, but I bought theirs because it does create such a beautiful kind of cracked glass effect. It's gorgeous, that Lunar Black. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. And Daniel Smith watercolors, let me tell you something. They granulate like nobody's business. You know, despite some of the controversy and some of the trust issues I have with Daniel Smith, like light fast trust issues and some of that Primatek stuff, I will say they make fantastic quality paint. They really truly do. And there are effects I can get with Daniel Smith that I can't get with other brands, particularly their granulating colors. They are amazing. I have probably 7, 8, maybe 9 brands of watercolor in my art studio, and none of their ultramarine blues are like Daniel Smith. That doesn't mean I don't like other ultramarine blue, but when I want granulation, Daniel Smith, I mean, you just can't match it.